Hi, neighbor. Welcome to an unplugged episode of Anchors of Encouragement. My name is Tim Maudlin, husband, adoptive parent, Bible class teacher, and ambassador of encouragement. In these unplugged episodes, there is no intro or outro. There's no music. It's just me and a microphone. Today, my microphone is actually my phone. You can probably tell that I'm not inside. The birds are singing. It's a little windy, so you might pick up some of that. I hope you don't hear any of the traffic. I'm at least 2 football fields away from the road, but every once in a while, a car will hit one of the rumble strips and make a little bit extra noise. Hopefully that won't be too distracting. You might even hear some of the cows that are out in the fields next to me. So this is about as unplugged as it can get. And I will share more about how I'm able to come to you via a recording on my phone in just a little bit. Today I want to share a story with you, an adoption story, but not the typical adoption story you are used to hearing on this podcast. It's been a couple of years, I guess now. A stray cat showed up at our back door. When I was younger, we would call these cats barn cats because they're feral. This female cat was very skittish. And we put some food out and she kept coming back. But when we got close to her, she would run off. It took a while, but after feeding her and talking nicely to her, she eventually came around to allowing me to pet her. This cat is unique. Her markings and color remind me of a possum, but she has the most deep, piercing blue eyes. So rather than name her Possum, which if you saw her, you would go, yeah, she kind of looks like a possum, even though you can still tell she's a cat, I decided to name her Bleu because of those piercing blue eyes. I've talked about another cat, and this was one that we were given a few years ago as well. This cat is a tabby named Amp. Now, Amp is one of the friendliest cats I've ever been around. We've had him since he was a kitten. When I go out for my daily walks, Amp will come with me. I have a path around my yard. Amp will run ahead of me and plop down, waiting to be petted. Amp trusts me so much that he will allow me to put my boot on his head. I do it gently, and I rub his head, and then I continue walking. And we have this ritual where he'll run ahead of me again and wait for me to rub his head. Blue is not like this. Blue will join the two of us. She'll even walk on the trail. But as I get closer to her, she hurries off of it. She doesn't want to get too close to me. Several weeks ago now, we noticed Blue was starting to gain weight. She was pregnant. I made sure she got a little extra food as I knew she was caring for some babies. And then 2 or 3 weeks ago now, I noticed Blue was not as heavy as she used to be. I've been watching to see where she goes after she eats. And then today, after I fed her, I saw her running up to the barn. And on the side of the barn, there's a hole at the bottom. And I saw her go through there. Since I was outside anyway, I went into the barn to see if I could see her and the kittens. I had an idea. I knew where they were. We have some pallets in there that we stack our firewood on. And I went over to that area of the barn and started to take off some of the boxes that we have that hold our kindling. And then I heard a sound. It was a growl. Bleu was letting me know, you are not welcome here. You need to leave. And so I said nicely, I just wanted to know where your kittens were. I will leave, which I did. Well, later on today, I fed her again. And while I was feeding her, I realized this is my chance to see if I can find the kittens. So while she was down at the house, I went up to the barn, to the area that I suspected they were in, and I removed the boxes with the kindling and lifted the pallet, and there they were. 4 little kittens, 2 tabbies, and 2 that were kind of a black calico, and they had some yellow in them. So 4 kittens altogether. I was able to get a quick picture to show the rest of the family. And as I just covered them up, Bleu comes back into the barn and makes that same growl, like, you need to leave now, which I did. The thing that touched me so much about this story, and it was really sweet, is to watch how protective she is with her babies. And it's one of those things where you're just, at least I am, amazed at the instinctiveness that God has put into his creation, these mothers that care for their young. Blue's still skittish from us, but when it comes to her babies, she is very protective. I'm glad she adopted us. I'm glad she's part of our family. Even though she's still a little standoffish, I'm glad she's a part of the family. And I'm glad we have these 4 new arrivals. Hopefully we can find some homes for them once they're a lot bigger. But I wanted to share this story with you today. There's so much news out there that's just not worth consuming. And I wanted to come on this podcast and share a story that hopefully put a smile on your face, and something that you've probably observed already in your own pets. But I wanted to share it with you. Your daily doable for this episode, I have a couple of ideas to share with you. The first one is, pay attention to how animals treat their young. I know with Bleu, it's really sweet to watch how she cares for her kittens. Even though this is the first time that we've been able to see them, I can tell she has been taking care of them. They're very healthy. Their eyes are just now starting to come open. She has not abandoned them. She has watched over them and is very protective. And then the second idea, this is more of an adoption mindset. Bleu adopted us. Even though she adopted us, it takes a while to build trust. We accepted her well before she accepted us. It takes time. For those of you who are adoptive parents, some of you I know have adopted through the foster system, or you have adopted older children. That can take some time to establish trust. I know with Bleu, it took a while. It took providing for her. It took speaking nicely to her. And eventually she started to come around. But she still is somewhat defensive. And that's to be expected. And that's to be expected with adopted children. Even children that are adopted from birth, they can still be somewhat defensive. Don't take it personally. Just shower them with love and continue to show them grace. That's all for this episode. But before I go, I would like to tell you why I was able to come to you in this unplugged episode outside with just me and my phone. A little over a year ago, I decided I wanted to do a podcast. I was encouraged by a number of friends, and I thought they were crazy, just to be honest with you. Me do a podcast? But here I am. This is episode 66 of all things. I didn't know the first thing about doing a podcast. And I began looking for a person to show me how to do this. In the internet marketing space, there are a lot of voices. Some you need to stay clear of. But there are some who are the real deal. And I found one who is the real deal. My teacher, and who has since become my friend, Stefanie Gass. It was through her training that I got clearer on my calling, and then I began to understand how to put one of these podcasts together. If this is something that has been on your heart, to share your voice with the world, to share stories like I just did, then I would invite you to check out what Stefanie has to offer. She has a lot of free resources. She has some amazing courses that you can take to learn all the nuts and bolts about creating your own podcast. I'll put the links to those in the show notes, and you can check those out if that's something that is inspiring you today. If I can do a podcast, you can too. I hope this episode has encouraged you. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, this is Tim, encouraging you to do what you can now.